Yeah, baby, right on time. Right on time. Hello, hello. Let me get framed up. Let me get framed up. Hello, Michiganders. Hello, everybody. But in particular, you Michiganders, the Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook app is a brand new look. If you've never been there, check it out now. Join me now and check out the all-new Play Gun Lake Online Casino and Sportsbook app with tons of new slots. I love these names. Wolf Legend Megaways. Aren't you just intrigued and want to see what does that look like? Super Pinata Lucky Tap. Double Cash Spinner Colossal Diamonds. Big Fishing Fortune and Dragonova, plus all your favorite casino games. It's easier than ever to get in on the action. You can get up to a $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Play Gun Lake, the only app that I ever use and recommend. Get some skin in the game. You can bet sports. You can play blackjack, craps, poker, roulette, hot online slots, all while watching the game. Did you watch the game last night? What a game. Didn't like the outcome, but what a great hockey game, hockey match. And by the way, like in between periods, you can be sitting there and playing Play Gun Lake. Make your downtime fun time. That's the point. Play Gun Lake. You play for the love of the games. Winning is always a rush. The money is in the moment. It's the anticipation of a face card, the thrill of an extra spin, the pure joy of a jackpot. So Play Gun Lake Casino, you've got to be 21 and in Michigan for the Play Gun Lake online casino app. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yesterday, poll results for the Thursday poll question at Smerconish.com. 29,743. Great voting, but even more pleasing for me than the roughly 30,000 who voted, the margin, a whisker for the first time in a couple of days. Is the perception of declining airline safety rooted in actual risks, increased risks, or is it primarily a result of intensified media scrutiny? Are there really more airline mishaps, airline accidents taking place these days? Or is it just a function of the media glomming onto a subject? And so when things go wrong that candidly always go wrong, not to the extent of 67 people dying, I'm not saying that, but is it altering our perception of airline safety? Well, 51.02% said there really are increased risks. And 48.98% said it's the intensive media scrutiny that is causing us to perceive a greater risk. I spoke yesterday. I love telling the story. I might do it on television tomorrow, of the Summer of the Shark. 2001. Time magazine proclaims it the Summer of the Shark. They look at the data a year later when all the numbers are in and they're like, hey, there were fewer shark attacks, actually. Or the Dominican Republic, what was that, 2019, when you had roughly a dozen individuals die who were tourists, and everybody's worried about the minibar, like what's going on? Turns out it was natural causes, stuff happens. I throw into that mix the New Jersey drones, only insofar as for several days I was fixated on the drones. And then all of a sudden, the drones are gone from the headline. Do they all go away suddenly? I don't think so. I'll bet tonight there'll be as much drone activity in New Jersey as there was a month ago when we were talking about it. It's just that the media has moved on. Now, I love today's poll question. Should any portion of a DOGE dividend be returned to Americans as a tax refund check? Go to Smerconish.com and cast a ballot on that. I'll tell you something funny. I looked when 14 people had voted. When 14 people had voted, it was 7-7. I've not refreshed. I've not gone back and taken a peek. I don't think the 7-7, 50-50 is going to hold. And I also think that I hope people can look beyond whether they agree with Musk, whether they agree with Trump. I mean, the fact of the matter is DOGE exists. They claim they are ridding us of waste, fraud, and abuse. If they do that, what should happen to the money? And I have a dopey question that I will put to my guest on today's program talking about this, who is himself responsible for the idea. It's hard for me to fashion that the money is actually sitting somewhere. The money that they save, like, hey, we're not going to spend that. Oh, here's that money that we were going to spend. So let's whack up the pie and give every American $5,000, because we are spending more right now than we are taking in. We don't have money in hand. We're running a significant deficit, and we have a debt of $36 or $7 trillion. So the whole premise of there being a rebate may be faulty. I also am skeptical as to how much of a, quote, savings there will be. Angus King, the senator from Maine, the independent senator from Maine, was on the program yesterday. And at the end of the interview, he said to me, Michael, I'm gonna play this on radio today. He said, I'm gonna leave you with one number. He said 75,000 people have taken the early retirement, the fork in the road. And that is 0.1% of the annual federal budget. And it represents 0.3% of Musk's $2 trillion goal in terms of how much money they think they're going to save. And then Senator King said, with some, bravado, with some personality yesterday, so, you've only got 99.7% to go, fella, or something like that. But this DOGE dividend is being contemplated. From CBS's coverage, President Trump on Wednesday said he's considering using 20% of savings from Elon Musk's cost-cutting task force, the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to provide direct payments to taxpayers. Economists and policy experts across the political spectrum expressed skepticism about the feasibility. But Trump said, we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% back to pay down the debt. Okay, what becomes of the other 60%? He didn't say. But the idea of a so-called DOGE dividend surfaced on social media when a 4-page proposal, which I have right in my hand, was posted by an ex-user named James Fishback. It caught the eye of Elon Musk, who said on Tuesday that he would pitch the idea to Trump, and apparently he did, and Trump wants to do it. Now, according to Fishback's calculation, 20% of the supposed $2 trillion in eventual DOGE savings would be provided to some taxpayers in the form of a direct tax rebate, which he estimated at $5,000 per household. And then you've got other economists who are skeptical, like Angus King. Jessica Rydell is an economist and senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute, who said it's completely impossible to save that kind of money. 2/3 of the $7 trillion federal budget goes to Social Security, Medicare, defense, veterans, and interest on the debt, all of which has been taken off the table by President Trump. Other economists say it would be inflationary, a la the stimulus payments in the midst of COVID, if all of a sudden you put $5,000 in the pocket of Americans. But it's a really interesting. So I'm asking you, like, hypothetically, let's assume that there is some tangible savings. What should come of it? My view on the question, should any portion of the DOGE dividend be returned to Americans as a tax refund check? My answer is no. And by the way, my company on this matter is the New York Post. The New York Post similarly says, no, that should not be the case. It's the debt. It's the debt. It's the debt. And I am mindful of having Michael Peterson on the program from the Pete Peterson Foundation. His father, former Secretary of Commerce, you know the story, leaves behind $1 billion to address and promote the importance of resolving the national debt. And they're the ones who are always like banging the drum, sometimes running media campaigns. Debt and deficit, related, but two different things. Deficit is what's left after what we take in annually. The debt is the accumulation of all of those deficits. And right now we're at 36 trillion. And as we learned from the Peterson Foundation, it means that by 2050, 50% of all federal revenues are going to get paid just toward interest. So it's not sustainable. It's just not a sustainable dynamic. And one last consideration, if I might, Trump has rarely made this about the debt. You know, he was a big spender, frankly, like all the recent presidents, Republican and Democratic. But it's only now as they're seeking to kind of reimagine government that he speaks of the debt. I don't think that's the priority. I do not. I don't think when 6 or 7 thousand IRS employees are let go, as just happened, I don't think that's Donald Trump saying, you know, the debt and the deficit are really significant. We better let go of the. I think instead he just wants to take a hatchet to government for the sake of being the candidate who pared it down. You know, the deep state and so forth. I don't think it's a money issue primarily with him. But I know it's a great poll question. It's a great poll question. Should any portion of a DOGE dividend be returned to Americans as a tax refund check? Let me just see if I can refresh. Interesting. So it's no longer 7-7. It is no longer a 50-50. It's essentially a two-thirds. You have to go vote so that you can see. So then you'll be given the benefit of what I'm looking at as well. Would you kindly like and subscribe, and set yourself up for notifications? James Fishback will be on the radio program today talking about this issue, and I'm thrilled to be able to flesh out the conversation. Like and subscribe, set yourself up for notifications, and remember, on a Saturday, I don't begin at 8 a.m. Eastern, but rather 7:30 because of my CNN rehearsal, which follows. Appreciate all of you very, very much, and see you on radio, I hope.